Hey everybody, Oatmeal Joey here, and I was just minding my own business out in the forest in my yard near Seattle, and I started thinking about Y2K, and people were really scared about it. I was a little bit scared about it. They were talking about the computers not knowing what year it'd be as soon as it became the year 2000. That was the big Y2K scare. And the one thing that happened was some of the people went out into the forest and they were trying to survive out there. And later on, it turned out that the world didn't exactly end 18 years ago, back in 2000 or 2001. You know, as far as I know, the world's still going, unless if we're like inside the Matrix or something. But you know, it got people to go out into the forest and try to like dig holes and try to live inside some kind of time capsule or something. Like, some of the people are doing it. Some of the people thought about doing it, you know, living off the grid, trying to be independent. And then we kept on going. We were able to adapt and move on. I mean, obviously the Y2K thing may have affected some people, but they were also trying to fix it. But at the same time, psychologically speaking, it kind of made us look at the crazy, weird hippies out in the forest, and we started thinking like subconsciously, like, they're crazy. Like, people trying to go out in the forest just to live and survive because, oh, they think it's the end of the world, because some people said it's the end of the world, end of all civilization. Like it's kind of like they did it on purpose. And it's probably true that at least some people, the NWO or whoever they might be, shadows, the powers that be, they allowed it to happen, or they were totally behind everything. And I'm thinking about that, and I'm like, that's just too bad, because that's just a way to pin things on the good people and say, look at them, they're out in the forest, they're on a farm, they're trying to grow their own garden, and oh, maybe they're just like these other people who are X, Y, and Z, fill in the blank, whatever you want to say. They did the same thing in Charlottesville and other places where you have some people who are not exactly on the right. They're not conservatives. They're like the alt-right, but they're not the new right. And the mainstream media says, hey, look at them. All the conservatives are probably like that. They're just like these weirdos with like no hair, bald-headed people. Maybe they're Nazis, maybe they're this, maybe they're that, and it becomes very, very crazy. It becomes very obvious that those things cannot be true all at the same time. There's a lot of contradictions when you listen to people on the left. They will talk about the right in very extreme ways, and they'll try to label everybody the same. But then when we try to do the same thing, they say, well, there's exceptions, and you can't label the left as all the same. And hopefully you know what I'm talking about. But I was just thinking about that this morning, this Tuesday morning, 13th of February 2018. And I was just thinking, oh man, that's just too bad. How many things are out there that they've given a bad name? It's a lot of things, including like just living on the forest, living on a farm, this taking care of yourself, trying to have solar panels, trying to have water filters so you can drink water from your lake, river, your land. That should totally be your property and not the property of the government, state government, federal government, whatever it might be. We should be able to own more, have more freedom to own stuff, make our own choices. Government should get smaller, but that can only happen if we, you know, talk about it and, you know, call up senators, call up people that we know in the government, people that care about this in the community, I mean, we the people have to do what we gotta do, otherwise things will decline. Just a few days ago, who was that guy in Canada, the Prime Minister? Justin Trudeau? He's a door? He's a true door? No, wait. What's it? A dork? A true dork? What's his name? So some people are talking to him, and they were talking about humans, like mankind. And he's like, we like to call it people mind. I mean, people, what? Mind your own business. Wait, what? He said, we like to call it people kind. Oh, okay. So, why would you do that? Like, why would you want to call it that? Anyways, I think that's pretty crazy. But again, this is the left trying to demonize vocabulary and everything, and it's just too bad. But hey, what are we gonna do about it? Well, there's only so much we can do. Actually, there's always more that we can do. Gotta rake it up. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm raking it up. If you find something that you don't like, talk about it. And only thing you can do is start with yourself. And was that Michael Jackson's song? Yeah, Michael Jackson. You gotta look in the mirror, and you gotta, well, start there obviously. But I was just thinking about that, thinking about the forest and everything, and I think like living out in the forest, living out here is very amazing. It's difficult too, but that's what makes it a whole lot better, because after a long day of work, you feel like you totally earned it. A lot of times, the younger people nowadays are feeling like they're entitled a little bit too much, and it's so sad that people don't even know where they're from. They don't know who they are. They're losing it, and we gotta remind them sometimes. You have like some half black people saying that they hate white people, but they don't exactly say it. But they say like, well, you know, I really want to just do this. You know, like some of them said that they remove all the like white people out of their lives, or their personal lives, even though they're half white biologically, you know, in their DNA. And they probably have some white people in their family tree, but they don't want to think about that. And you think about history, and some people will say, well, all the white people, they owned slaves and stuff, but it was only about 2% of the white people in the 1800s specifically, and before that. And slavery is something that's been happening since like the dawn of time. It's happening, you know, basically some people will have slaves, you know, and it'll be all different kinds of colors, specifically more like, what do you call it, people in the Middle East, and the black people too in Africa, and even like, did the Indians do it? It's a good question, but I don't really know everything. But I'm telling you that history is all kinds of colors, and all kinds of things happened in the past. But it wasn't just one specific thing that happened. It wasn't just like, oh, only the white people did terrible things in the past. And a lot of people will tell you that, especially if you're young and you're in school even. People will say, look at what the white people did. But they totally ignore, what about this group of people? What about that group of people? What about all the things that the black people are still doing in a lot of places? There are exceptions, but we're talking about generalities. We're talking about statistics. And do you want to look at that? Do you want to think about that? Well, some people are going to turn off, but that's just too bad. Then what am I going to do about it? Well, I'm gonna go back to raking. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to raking, because I think I can do that. Yeah, I think I can do a little bit of that. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to raking. I'm gonna become a caveman and live in the forest and do those kind of things. Yeah.